The council here is quoted as saying, if there is one thing that Washington should be able to agree on, rebuilding our infrastructure should be one. I mean, when you've got the AFL and the Chamber of Commerce agreeing on anything, that's a sign that it's a good idea.
And we do have the AFL and the Chamber of Commerce here. It's not often that big business and big labor agree, but this is one of those times. Both see an opportunity to create jobs by rebuilding America. The Senate is expected to take up that issue in the next few weeks, and I'm now joined by two men that you seldom find in the same corner, AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka and U.S. Chamber of Commerce President Tom Donohue. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
It makes all the sense in the world. Build the crumbling infrastructure, put people back to work. And yet it's such a hard sell. Make the case for why the Senate, why Congress should do this business on infrastructure.
Well, first of all, we're living off the investments that our parents and grandparents made in this country. We've gone in the last 4 years from being in the top 5 infrastructure in the world to 16, and we're falling. We can't be competitive in a global economy unless we have infrastructure that allows us to be competitive. We have a major deficit, a $2.2 trillion deficit in old infrastructure, and a $2 trillion deficit in new infrastructure to bring us into the 21st century. This is really a no-brainer. And for years and years and years, infrastructure was an issue that Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and everybody came together and said, this needs to be done. Let's join together and do it.
Tom Donohue, can one join together behind me in that building politically to get this done? And how many jobs do you think it would bring to America if it was agreed to?
Well, first, we're in agreement of the need to bring along a major improvement in our infrastructure. Second, we understand that a lot of jobs can be created in the transportation and the energy side, the aviation, and the water side, and those all come with a trust fund attached to them where people pay money in. We would disagree on the current discussion in terms of the game that's going on over there to try and pass President Obama's tax issue one piece at a time. And there's a lot of things we can say about that. And we would disagree in the issue of the Buy America components of that. When we did it in the stimulus, we had to give 170,000 exemptions while we were trying to build roads and bridges. But for the fundamental issue of let's put people to work and let's improve the nation's infrastructure, we have no objection and no differences, and we're going to try and work it out by making those adjustments.
And it's not just about putting people to work, it's also about growth. And without growth, obviously, there will be no significant uptick in employment. And I've been told and read, of course, that investment in infrastructure creates growth, and by the contrary, crumbling infrastructure really hurts the GDP in this country.
Actually, we even have an equation that we've shared with Rich. You can tell, based on the health of your infrastructure, what your GDP is going to be, and you are on target. No growth, no jobs.
So, Rich, if Tom Donohue and the Republicans don't agree with the tax part, how to pay for all of this, how is this going to become a reality, this eminently sensible idea of getting people to work in infrastructure?
Look, we have the money. It's not a matter of this country being broke. We have the money. It's a decision to make this a priority. I think we have to make it a priority for 2 reasons. One, it makes us more competitive as a nation. 2, it put people back to work. When you put people back to work, you don't have to talk about deficits and things like that, because people that are working contribute to the economy rather than taking something out of the economy. I was sort of tickled by Tom, though, when he said he disagrees with us about not wanting to do Buy America stuff. He'd rather stimulate somebody else's economy rather than our economy. So
I was in Canada at the oil sands 2 weeks ago, and every state in the Union, 50 states in the Union, are selling services, equipment, and materials into that huge project. And soon, I hope we're going to have the pipeline that comes down through the United States to our refineries in the Gulf Coast, which are going to create 250,000 jobs, most of them union jobs. So what we want to do in Buy America is build more things in America. But to set up opposition to us selling things abroad and for people selling things here, it costs jobs, it doesn't create jobs.
Let me ask you, Jeffrey Immelt, who's the head of the President's Jobs Council, and of course you sit on it as well, said that he doesn't think America's in this game to win, unlike other countries, China, Germany, other such countries, that really needs to really work harder to do this. How can America not be in this to win? Has this country gone soft?
Well, it is fair to say, and I think Rich and I would agree, that emerging countries have, you know, hard over people that are entrepreneurs and working very hard. We're a developed country, and I wouldn't say we've gone soft, we've gone comfortable. And what we need, the young people coming into the workforce, starting their own businesses, people that are just determined to do this because they've got the skill, they've got the energy, and we need to help them. We need, the banks need to help them.
Look. The other countries that we deal with, they have a plan and a strategy. They have a plan for manufacturing. They have a plan to build things. We don't have that strategy in the United States, and the reason we don't is that place up there gets flooded with lobbyists from multinational corporations whose interests are beginning to diverge more and more from the interests of this country. When we can realign those interests, then I think we all start to win, and we put America back to work. We'll take on the competition, and ultimately we win.
Just very quickly, Germany, for instance, has managed to keep employment up by dealing with unions, perhaps sharing hours, reducing hours rather than laying people off. Is that something that you would consider?
Oh, absolutely. Look, they have a different strategy. Theirs is a high-wage strategy. This country went on a low-wage, high-consumption strategy some time ago. Cut wages for everyone. Okay. The major driver of the economy in the United States is consumption. You can't consume unless people have money in their pocket.
And on that note,
2 points. Quick.
Very quick.
Consumption, people are saving their money, and we're manufacturing more than we ever have.